As I said, we're not quite done with education. We're going to take a step higher, if you will, but it's really a step broader, as a judge has actually halted the education department's shutdown and orders everybody that got fired essentially be rehired. This also happening yesterday, so it's a flip-flop of back and forths, wins and losses for Donald Trump, if you will, where District Judge Myong Joun issued a preliminary injunction that prevented the Trump administration from proceeding with plans to dismantle the Department of Education. The job that he gave to Linda McMahon to get rid of her job, as she's being told to come back and bring back other people's jobs. About 1,300 jobs, 1,300 employees must be reinstated into their roles to go back to work and actually make the Department of Education work, get things done, do what they're told to do, because the issue is really not Trump doesn't like it and wants to get rid of it, because many Republicans don't like it and want to get rid of it. The problem is Trump can't get rid of it. Congress has to literally get rid of it. It's an act of Congress that made it. An act of Congress has to get rid of it. And there are reasons to believe they can't get their act together to get rid of it for Trump. The ruling response to the lawsuits that were filed by educators, school districts, and teachers unions, who argued that the department's downsizings actually hindered the ability to fulfill statutory obligations such as managing student loans and enforcing civil rights laws. Judge Joun emphasized that the department's reduced capacity pose significant harm to students and educators, particularly those relying on federal aid and services. Essentially, schools in rural districts that are needing that money for school lunches and for aids for people that need disabilities didn't have that. Plus, on a higher education level, all the issues with student loans and platforms are such a mess that everyone in higher education is freaking out. And no one to work those issues, no one to answer questions, no one to answer the phones. You're left in limbo. The Trump administration criticized the court's decision, labeling it a judicial overreach, with Education Secretary Linda McMahon defending the layoffs and efforts to improve efficiency by reducing bureaucracy. Essentially, get rid of all the middlemen, give the money straight to the states, let them figure it out. The administration announced plans to appeal this ruling, asserting that the executive branch holds the authority to reorganize federal agencies, which it does, without congressional intervention. Technically, it does, but they just can't organize it to zero because the work must be done. The judge order requires the Department of Education to restore the staffing by January to levels from January, essentially from the day Trump took office and wrote the executive order. He has to go back to that level. Layoffs were pretty big in some key offices across the nation, the federal branches, but this is a big one because this one particularly has to go back to normal now. As we said, Trump's going to appeal it. We'll see how this plays out. At some point in time, there'll be a resolution, although the act of Congress, I don't believe, will be the act that fixes anything.